I'd like to introduce a new product for weather sealing. It's a silicone tape. We sell it in packages of 1 or packages of 2. It's WK-S-1 or WK-S-2. It's a 30 mil silicone tape, and there's a couple of things you can do with this. You can replace the strain relief in the back of the connector. Our connectors typically come with an adhesive line 3-to-1 shrink boot. Sometimes working in the field, this is a little difficult. It requires a heat source to shrink this down. So this is one thing you can do with it. It allows you also to build up the strain relief, to taper the strain relief. And also you can use it as a final weather seal, to seal the mated interface, to seal ground kits. So it's a very versatile product. The first thing I'm going to do here, I was going to take roughly about 6 inches of this tape and just use it as a strain relief. This tape comes with just a clear backing that has to be peeled away. And what this tape has is 100% elongation, and it actually depends on that elongation to get its adhesion. There's no adhesive on the tape per se. It totally depends on elongating it and stretching it, and it adheres to itself. So we have a typical, here's an end female on an LMR 400 cable. We're just going to get it started. We're going to pull some tension, not too much to get that first wrap. But once we have that first wrap, we can now pull on this tape pretty well. And again, 300% elongation. If you want, you can build it up a little more right behind the connector. And just feather it back. One thing that's a little different with this tape is if you were putting a PVC tape, usually the final step in a weather seal process, that last little bit of tape, you want to put it on very gently because you don't want that tension to come undone in the sun and the wind and start unraveling. With this tape here, you want the whole entire tape, you want to apply this tension. Just wrap it onto itself. And this tape will actually bond and almost become homogeneous if you were to cut this away. So what you've done here is you've provided a nice weather seal strain relief. Here's our atom boot. You can see a little bit of comparison between the atom boot and the silicone weather seal. Now we'll mate these two pieces together. And we'll take roughly about 1 foot of the silicone tape. Again, we'll peel away the backing. We'll get started just a little beyond, about 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch beyond that atom boot. Again, not too tight for that first wrap. But once you have that first wrap, you just start working it back down that mated interface, maybe roughly about a half lap. This is a little easier if the cable's actually installed and not holding the entire cable here. Nice thing about this tape, it's very soft and it'll form very closely to the connector. And as I said earlier, in terms of finishing this up, you just want to keep that tension on there and then fold it back on itself. And that is the finished product. Very simple to use, no messy adhesive, no heat shrink gun required. Now, one of the beauties of this product is if you did have to go in there and remove this to get at that interface, not only do you don't have any adhesive, you don't have any adhesive on this tape, because of the tension that is present when you're applying the tape, it's very easily removed. Take a razor and just slightly score that tape. And I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's almost like a spring action. The tape just pulls away. So again, if you have something where you need to go back in there later on, it just makes it very, very simple to do that. And this just pulls away here. On this back end here, because we use the silicone for strain relief, it doesn't pull away so easily because it's already started bonding to that strain relief underneath, which is a good thing. That's one of the real beauties about this tape too. Is once you apply it, you could apply it in layers, and you apply tension, and it actually bonds to itself and becomes almost a homogeneous piece of silicone rubber.